we actually just had what we call a partner palooza, where businesses are coming and pitching ideas of different authentic learning opportunities that our students can do in any classroom. Our end goal with this is we're hoping that every fall, businesses will come in and pitch their ideas, and then our students will pick which businesses they're going to run the social media for.
We are surrounded by content. Content shapes who we follow, how we lead, what we buy, and even what we believe. Welcome to the Content Generation Podcast, a class intercom production where we focus on the stories that come to life in schools all over the world. We highlight the students, educators, and communities who share the content that shapes our future. Welcome back to the Content Generation Podcast. I'm Ben, and I am here with Dr. Jill. And this week, we have a really special guest. Kylie has been doing some amazing things with communication for her school district in Harlan, Iowa. And Jill, I know you've had a long-term relationship with her. I don't think you're at all surprised that this is a fantastic podcast.
Right. It's just been really a great opportunity for me to see Kylie grow from a young teacher. I first worked with her when I was a professional development consultant at Educational Service Unit 6 in Nebraska, and she was a brand new teacher, and she was a gunner right from the start. And then to see her just develop in her career over really the last decade to the innovative things she's doing now and the leadership she's providing to the state through the Nebraska Educators Technology Association and beyond, just in her school with the authentic learning classes. She's a gem for sure.
Yeah, well, we talked a bit about what she's been doing to empower students to be involved in content creation, and it extends actually beyond that. The way that students are becoming leaders in her school is not lost on me, how hard that is, but it's also gaining the attention of the school board, and the administration are starting to say, what's going on here? I think.
Yes,
so
definitely.
It's really fantastic to see her example there. And really it's because of her that these students have some incredible opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really fortunate to have her there at Harlan Community Schools, and I can't wait to see what they do next.
I also want to highlight, Jill, that you are collaborating with her at NEDA in Omaha, Nebraska this year. So she's coming back over from Iowa to collaborate with you and a group of students. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing there?
Yeah, definitely. We are hosting our first live social media contest. We'll have 3 student teams there live competing for 3 hours in a head-to-head sweepstakes contest with everything from hype videos to Instagram stories to blog writing with our professionals on hand to give them support. And it's going to be an awesome event. And I really appreciate Kylie's leadership in making sure that these kids have an awesome experience.
I love that. In some ways, we are turning content creation into a spectator sport.
Definitely.
And really, it's for the purposes of education to see, how is this done, right? How could we be doing this in our schools and our school districts? So I'm really excited to see it come together. I'm really thrilled with how this podcast turned out, but also just that leadership being able to be extended, and her vision for it not just being something that she does, but it's something that these students are taking forward, and it's something that she's bringing to a lot of other educators as well. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Welcome back to the Content Generation. I am joined today with a special guest. It's Kylie Cum from Harlan, Iowa. Kylie, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great to be with you here. We've been talking before about your episode because you've got a lot of initiatives going on, but we've never met, and I'd love to get to know you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your school, what you do there, how you got into helping out with some of the social media.
Yeah. This is my first year at Harlan Community High School. It is my first year jumping over the river. I have been an educator in Nebraska for the past 9 years and then joined the team over here at Harlan. So, in my past life, I was a business teacher and an instructional coach. And now this year, I've taken a new position as half-time computer science and half-time tech integration. And so, we knew that there was a need here in Harlan to get our social media running, and no better way than to have our students run it. I've always enjoyed your guys' philosophy of having the kids tell their story. And so we kicked off kind of see what kind of interest we had with our students by having an after school club. And we also do it during our win time, what I need time, very similar to like a homeroom. And so I sent out an email and was like, who wants to be the next social media influencer? And we had a good kickback on that. So we
Nice.
had like 20 kids interested, and from there we've started doing some different stuff.
Awesome. So, yeah, we're going to get to a bunch of, you've got students engaged from your promotion. Sounds like relatively minimal. You got 20 interested in being influencers or influencers for the school and really helping develop some of that social media content. And you, so first year in a new program, new building for you, and now you're already implementing some new things. Were you recruited to help do some of those things?
No, it kind of just got brought up one day, and then I was asking how we were marketing our stuff. And then it came to, well, if you want to do it, you can. And so from there, we kind of found the best of both worlds. So
Awesome. So as a teacher looking at business, computer science, some of the other STEM things that you're helping teach, social media became a part of your journey as well. Was that something that you were doing personally as well?
Yep. So I've helped some local businesses over the years with their social media marketing. Always had an interest in it. And then when I was a business teacher, that was right when social media was ramping up. So obviously our kids are using it, and it's a way to draw them in. So always had an interest on how the user uses it and how we can use it for our schools in a positive way too.
Awesome. Yeah, I always think there's a sort of weird chasm between how we utilize social media personally and then how we use it as a brand or organization. Have you started to run into that as you're having those conversations?
Yeah. So when we're having conversations with our students, we're always talking about like who the user is and who's going to be benefiting from this information. And so it's like the kids in the district often know what's going on, but there's still kids that don't. So we really see that, our music students or our basketball students, they know when the games are and when things are happening, but it's for those people who don't. So we can get more people to the games, know what kind of awesome stuff is happening. And then even some of our highest hits on our data is just when we're having snow days and when we're not having school. So it's been interesting for them to kind of see who's looking at what posts.
Right. So as you're communicating internal with the school, what's your team look like as far as people who are interested in what's happening with social media?
With our high interest that we had and the positive impact we've had from our community, our advanced marketing students have taken over a lot of our social media. And so they are looking at who needs what done in each of our buildings. So we have a separated campus. Our elementary is across the street. And then our middle school and high school have separate buildings, but we're together. And so they actually decided on who is the captains of each of the buildings. So our teachers get a reminder email every month, like if you're doing anything, let us know. And so they can communicate that to myself or the people who are in charge of their buildings. So each semester we have new kids that come into that class. And so then they're being delegated out to, if you need anything, this is your student to contact in the elementary, middle school, and high school.
That's awesome. So you've got students cycling in every semester. You've got a captain of sorts. So the
Yep.
and an official title as student captain, correct? As a
Yep.
social
Yep.
media connection, point of contact, and then you're educating then teachers and administrators in each of those buildings as to who the captain is. Is that right?
Yep. Yep. So we send out an email. We schedule them out so we don't forget every month. And so we let our PLC groups know in our districts and then our admin, these are who you should contact. If you send them to me, that's totally fine. I forward them on to where they go. And then as a class, they also kind of divide and conquer. So we try to have a post for every home event. Well, I guess every event. And so they go through what we call Bound. That's our calendar that we use as a district. And so they go through Bound and make sure that there's a post for all the basketball games or bowling or music. And then we just ask our coaches to communicate with us, like if there's any honors that need to be recognized. And then our admins in their admin meetings really talk about this are the posts we need pushed out. We have this opening. We want to make sure that we give thanks to these people that have donated to our foundation, anything like that. So there's open communication between all of those people.
Awesome. So that becomes an education tool for the marketing department, for the advanced marketing students
Yep.
within the business program, correct?
Yes.
And then you're also getting students exposure, and you're listing them. So as a captain, and then they also have other students who are involved helping that captain, correct?
Correct.
I saw some notes the other day that you had sent in that you're starting to do press passes and that type of thing as well with the
Yes.
students, right? Give them some
Yep.
stickers, give them some badges.
Yep. They're liking the swag. We actually have a kid that is using his press passes to go to some of our regional games here in Iowa. They're working on a hype video to be played at the state tournament. Our girls just made it to state. So those are some of our next steps of what it looks like and how we're going to grow next year. We also have a student, we just added a brand with you guys, and it's called Authentic Learning. So in Iowa, we have a big push for authentic learning. So basically, giving students real world opportunities to kind of build their resume and do things that they actually enjoy. And so we have a student right now that's in an authentic learning class. And with her authentic learning class, she's actually doing the marketing for a nonprofit and a business. So she's working with those people. So she's taken a lot of stuff that we've done in our classes and put it into real life. So she's meeting with those business owners. She's talking about what they want and when they want it posted. She made a brand kit for them. So it's really taking off, and we're hoping that's going to grow into an actual class.
So she's essentially, as a student, developing what I would say is really a social media agency, then reaching community members. That's amazing.
Yep.
Love it. So Emerson is the one who's driving that as a student. And then you're helping connect with her to evaluate the conversations that Emerson receives from those different either nonprofit or small businesses.
I actually have a STEM class, and she's doing it independently in there at that time. So we bounce ideas off of each other. What do you think about this? I try to get her thinking in different directions, like what holidays are coming up, what could they possibly want when the seasons change, those types of conversations. But she's the one that does all the emailing, setting up Zooms with the people. Currently, before we had our brand set up for authentic learning, she was sending them an email. Here's your post for the week. Please post it at this time and on this day. Give me any feedback that you want. And so one of the businesses had a prior use of their social media. And so they just needed somebody to do it more consistently. With it being a nonprofit, it was a lot of volunteers. And so just finding somebody that could consistently do that. And then our other business had a lot of push to start expanding. They wanted to do more Facebook Lives, had made an Instagram but wasn't using it, and then they're wanting to have a higher presence of our high school students going to their business, and so that's where Emerson comes in. So
cool. So for the nonprofits, are you getting students doing volunteer hours with some of those nonprofits as well?
that's The next step as we go through. So with all of our authentic learning classes, we kind of have 5 different scenarios of what we're going to do next year, of how that's going to look. And so we're going to have a student help desk. So when we get our new Chromebooks, the kids are going to be fixing those Chromebooks, and then this social media side, and then we have an ag related one that's coming. Also, we have we're a rural school, so the need for ag businesses and ag training is definitely there.
Yeah. Well, there's such a good communication techniques for those ag businesses too that have to communicate to a lot of our listeners aren't in ag communities, right? And may not
Mm-hmm.
know a farmer personally, right? So that's
Yep.
such an important part of that connection too. That's amazing. I love to hear that. We work with some of the university students who run an ad agency inside
Mm-hmm.
of the university here locally. And oftentimes they're struggling to make those connections between how we move from personal social media to how it becomes more professional use. And to see that happening at the high school level is inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're definitely expanding. So like I said, we're hoping like 5 students in that role next year. It'll be an application process if we have more than those 5 students interested in dedicating their time to that full period. But we actually just had what we call a partner palooza, where businesses are coming and pitching ideas of different authentic learning opportunities that our students can do in any classroom. So we had the local chamber needs a Santa sleigh built for next Christmas. So they're going to be
Okay.
working with people in our community to do that. We had another business in town that wanted new hire videos. So our speech team is going to work with them to kind of record those videos that new hires or new training are going to watch. And then we definitely have lots of rural small businesses that need social media or websites or anything like that. So our end goal with this is we're hoping that every fall businesses will come in and pitch their ideas, and then our students will pick which businesses they're going to run the social media for. So in that real business like setting where these are the clients I want to take on, and then I'm going to work with them directly to give them what they need. So
Well, that's so great too, because oftentimes what we're seeing is that students who may be pursuing a career outside of marketing and communications still can use their knowledge and their use of social media to connect with businesses in the industry they're looking for. So I think that really provides a nice bridge there for authentic learning too.
yep.
I love hearing what you're doing. What's next for you beyond expanding this student connection? How's the administration starting to see this connection with social media for you?
Yeah, they love it. They love that we're hitting the ground running. When we talked about it, I threw it out. The previous district, I was at Conestoga last year, and they had just started their journey with class intercom. And I threw it out in a meeting and was like, if we want to have our kids do it, they don't have to have access to any of our social media. We just use this software; they'll do it for us. And they're like, okay, well, let's try it out. And they were super impressed, loved it right away. Our school board thought we just presented on it on Monday, just kind of what our kids are doing, what our next steps are, and then what we're seeing with the expansion of our brands. And everybody has totally bought in. So they are definitely pro class intercom and are excited to see where it goes. And we haven't really jumped into the report side. I have, but that's something that we're looking at expanding and doing as we kind of grow this. So, like I said, in October, I presented it, and I think within a week we had purchased and we're starting to launch it. And so we kind of have built the plane as we've been flying it, and it's been a good experience. And so, like I said, I work with JC Stewerman. She's our marketing teacher. She's actually on maternity leave, so we've had a sub,
Oh,
Dylan
wow.
Sears. He's jumped in and enjoyed it. So we've shown the kids how to log on. They're using it. They understand how to make the libraries. So we've started to create those. And the nice thing about those is we said we're all hoping for snow days. So let's get all of the snow day posts into the library. So when it's ready to go, it's ready to go. And we're kind of thinking we use Canva a lot for our creations. And so we're trying to streamline that so it's easy. If we need to reuse a post next year, they know where to find them. So that's kind of our cleanup side of what we need to figure out for this semester.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, even more excited than I am about, the students getting to, that opportunity to use those is that you're really getting authentic student voice out into the world,
Mm-hmm.
and you're doing that in, I mean, I can't think of a more authentic learning. As someone who's run a social media agency, I'm like, that's exactly what we do. That's exactly what we would want to be doing. And so to see students getting that exposure at a high school level is awesome. And the fact that the school board's on board with it as well, right? Seeing that's incredibly important to the connection to the community is huge. Are you also finding some maybe potential opportunities for fundraising for the school? As you're connecting with small businesses that might want to hire or pay or sponsor some of those opportunities?
We've discussed that. We're kind of still in the infancy stages, like I said before, but we're really looking at, is there a chance for our students to be employed? So
Yeah.
Emerson's going to be running these two social media sites. Well, what happens when summer comes? So we're starting to think about what that looks like. We have other kids that are interested that aren't in either of the classes. So is there a possible employment opportunity? How will that look for their schedule next year? And so all of our authentic learning classes, that's kind of our end goal is let's build your resume. Let's have a portfolio for you. And then if that leads to a job, that's just icing on the cake.
That's amazing. Now, I love it. I love the work that you're doing, and I'm excited. We're actually partnering a little bit at NITA to work with some students together, and I'm excited to send. I know we've got a bunch of folks from our office that'll be coming in to get to workshop with students and participate in some of the learning they're doing there in person. And so, yeah, I'm excited to be with you together at the Nebraska Educational Technology Association. So it should be good.
Yeah, so we have been talking about student contests at NITA, and that's how I got into NITA when I was a baby teacher in my first year. I was like, there's this NITA contest, and my students can make content for it and send it in. And then that's how I got hooked. I've been on the board since 2018, I think. And so we were discussing, post COVID times, how can we get those contests back to where they were before COVID. And so we wanted to kind of rearrange and think about the topics and how technology has changed. And our number one is we don't want teachers or students to have to do extra work. We just want to showcase what you're already doing. And so we have a bunch of broad contest AI, digital media, photography, things that they're already doing that you can just make a connection to. And then we're like, would be way cooler if we had kids at our conference for them to see what's going on. And so that's when we reached out to collaborate with you guys. And this year we're going to have our first live student contest at NITA, and we're very excited.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see it all come together. I know there's some students that are coming from a few different schools, and we've got some of our graphic designers, photographers, copywriters that are headed over to just help workshop, and I think they're excited about it and maybe a tad nervous. So I like that.
Yeah.
Too. I think it'll be fun. No, I think it's great. And why not have students, right? We talk about that all the time. Like, why would we withhold these opportunities and only learn them as adults? Why can't we, introduce these opportunities at a high school level?
Exactly. And with all the things that are going on at NITA, especially on Thursday when the kids are there, there's going to be so much content for them to see. It's going to be a live event, but with nice teachers that are welcoming to student content and all of that. And I always laugh because it's way easier for a student to get content than for an adult to email another adult. That email can get thrown away. But when a student emails or a student goes up and asks a question, they're a lot more responsive. So we're excited to see the content that they get to gather and the way they get to put it together, collaborating with teachers across the state.
I love what you're teaching, and it's not just content. It's not just marketing. You're teaching leadership. You're teaching civic connections. You're teaching philanthropy. There's so many different cross-curricular things that you're bringing to the table, and really excited to get to know you a little bit better here, and excited to see if there's maybe some connections we can bring some folks to Harlan sometime and see it in action.
Yeah, you're definitely welcome. Anybody that's going to be at the NETA conference, come check out what these 3 school districts are doing. We're going to have 3 school districts with about 6 kids each. And then we'll also have, like you said, some class intercom specialists there to kind of bounce ideas off. So everybody wants to see it in action. And so this is just a great way to kind of see what kids are doing, and kids can explain the benefits that they see too, not just our teachers' perspectives.
Well, thanks for all the good work you're putting in and the connections you're making and introductions to bringing in students to the content generation. Great to get to know you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.